I was gonna say, if anyone's not familiar with the genre of flight sims, this isn't directly from your Microsoft Learn to Fly simulator. This one's actually more of an action game, more of an action-oriented, shoot down the enemy versus precision.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's a shooter. And we've come up at the official genre description as something that's not really describing it correctly. But it's definitely, left, right, up, down, shoot, and dodge kind of game.
I hope so. Otherwise, you'd be flying those ships like in Independence Day. It's like, okay, I'm going to take this guy down, whack into a wall. I'm going to take this guy down, whack into another wall.
Yeah.
Then Harry Connick Jr.'s there.
Harry Connick Jr. Can you fly with Harry Connick Jr. in Sky? No, I'm kidding. All right, so now we haven't actually gotten a chance to play this. I was speaking to Tybalt earlier today, and we actually didn't get a version to check out. So you want to give us a rundown on what kind of game our audience can expect?
Oh, that's okay. We did. It's a game that's going to be released through the Steam store and on mobile platforms. We're doing an Android and iOS release at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely an experience that's created for the PC Steam audience, meaning that you have a gamepad around that's going to be very helpful. And but it's translated very well to the mobile platform, to kind of our surprise, sort of. But it's definitely, an arcade game that is going to, bring you back to those times when games were about beating the high score, that retro era. And it has kind of that vibe of the competition between friends in on a party at somebody's house that we all love and remember so much. So
couch co-op is amazing.
Yeah.
More like classic gaming, yeah, sure.
This game spilled on soda on my couch. My mom yelled at me.
Right.
It was a great time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh God, the best.
No. I wanted to bring that up because one of the things that was kind of interesting to me is it's a simultaneous release, and also you're looking for more of a constant stream of content. It's not just you buy the game once and then that's the experience, forever hold your peace.
Yes. Basically, we're going to be offering, there is an in-game store system that allows for upgrades and customization of your airplane, meaning that you start with a single wing aircraft and during the game you can collect some things and basically upgrade. But there is also going to be DLC that will be provided with patches throughout the year, which is going to bring some new things, new from the basic things like new skins and even new weapons to actually new levels. So that's all down the line. So it's going to be kind of an ongoing thing. So once you actually buy the game, you will have access to an entire world of upgrades, which are all going to be coming to you, as months go by.
That's cool. It sounds like there was this online game we always used to play a while back called Gunbound. There's been other games like this, since then, but that's the main one that comes to mind because in the game you play the base game, and that's the one that everyone can jump in, and it's awesome. But then you can also buy different accoutrements for your particular unit. So I have my ship, I have my plane, I have my car, my etc. And I can outfit this with colors, with skins, with capes, with different weapons, all types of stuff, and customize. And with the actual library available, everyone's different unit was different, so no one's ever stuck in like this really generic singular model of a unit, and that's what you're shooting for.
I think that's the whole point, from symbols on the wings customization to actually adding different parts and making your aircraft unique. That is definitely all in the blueprints. However, the first release is going to focus on the storyline and actually getting the players accustomed to the universe that we built for this game.
Okay, then talk to me about the storyline.
Well, Red Barton and the Sky the Sky Pirates lives in a world in which there is a little bit of somewhere in the Milky Way. It's not this planet; it's some other world, and we've built this kingdom, which is led by an evil king, and basically you are one of the people that actually worked for the king, but he's turned against him. And as you go forward, you will actually be meeting, your fellow knights that have turned against you and now think of you as a traitor. So,
are you the bad guy? Hold on, I think I missed something.
Oh yeah, did you?
Oh
wow!
Twist.
Red Barton, you bastard.
Now I like it more.
So we're trying to kind of give it several layers because we are also focused on the future of the franchise itself, which first part is to get to the main nemesis, but you're only getting to his lair, and then further games are going to be dealing with what happens next.
Oh yeah, we don't have time for henchmen. You bring on the big boss.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd mentioned Gunbound, and I also noticed it went pretty silent in here. So am I the only one who's played like these online nerdy games? You can't.
I mean, I will be honest with you that this is just not a genre of gaming that I personally participate in, but it's something my father would have loved. He would have gone crazy for this. This is exact. I've watched him play 50 games like this. I'm not trying to be a bummer. I'm saying it's wonderful that these games are being created, and I look forward to seeing this game.
Okay,
it's not something that I'm not going to sit here and say it's my favorite genre, but I'm really enjoying what I'm hearing about the plot, and also the customization options seems like a really intriguing thing for people that do play this style of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and definitely every time I hear that this is a genre, there is only a couple of leading games. I mean, Star Fox was probably the one that actually swam above the surface here in the States. And we are kind of following in those footsteps. But to be honest, if you ask me now to look through an app store and actually find competitors, I will actually have a hard time because it's not something that's very often present. They're not easy to make. They are, I'm guessing, they are not easy to make to be a unique experience. I'm sure there are a lot of generic ones.
They do fall a little few and far between. I do want to. I literally lost my train of thought mid-sentence.
Well, there was a question for the initial release versus the story where stuff that comes after.
Yes.
And I do want to emphasize that. The initial bundle, the game itself, is entirely self-contained. So whoever gets the hands on the game, on the released game, will have everything he needs to actually finish it, which is also very important for us. There's also going to be things like on-screen, split-screen kind of collaborative co-op mode, and those are the kind of things that we are really suckers for, and those are the kind of things that really work for us. So we're going to kind of offer the endless gaming experience, meaning that you will be able to just fly and just beat the clock and do these things, but you'll also be able to sit with your friends and just make more, kill more things and make more points than him. And the actual table, the actual scoreboard is going to be international, meaning whoever plays the game anywhere in the world contributes to the same scoreboard.
So I can build up vendettas with people I don't even know. I like it.
Well, that goes back to that original gaming, you know what I mean? The high score stuff. So that'll definitely drive people to try to be better than everyone.
Score of the guy before you who put his name as sex, and then the one who next one who put his name as butt.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess one final thing to note would be, since users can play on both PC and on mobile, I'm guessing with the mobile you're using a gyro 360 model where users can tilt the phone as their controls and such.
Yeah, we'll be using. You'll have a choice whether you want to use the on-screen control or you want to use the accelerator, which comes with phones now stock. So it's just a matter of personal preference. I personally use the on-screen controls, but accelerators are a cool thing.
Yeah, no, they're okay, but I get dizzy.
Yeah, I get really dizzy.
Put an Oculus Rift on a man, you make a mess.
I mean, like you're in a car or something like that.
Yeah. I start like flying my phone around the room, like looking like something wrong with me.
Yeah.
People think you're crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a public transportation and walking around like that. What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Like, what's that guy doing? He's walking on the tracks. Don't look at him. Don't look at him. All right. So where can our listeners actually check out Red Barton and then Barton, not Baron, Red Barton and the Sky Pirates?
Well, the information is available through the main website, redbarton.com. But we also have a lot of videos and things available on YouTube at this moment. We do have a Twitter and Instagram following for Schism Worldwide, our company. And Valentine's Day is going to be pretty much available on Steam Store for PC and Mac.
Oh, how romantic!
There is something I did not say, so let's leave that for Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay, all right, surprises.
So and there is the Android, there's the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store release is going to pretty much be simultaneous with the Steam release. So It's all going out February the 14th.
All right, cool. You heard the man, Red Barton and the Sky Pirates. Check it out on Valentine's Day.
Very romantic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I got my date this year.
Yeah, send flowers.
All right, Al, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For talking with us.
Thank you guys for having me. Cheers.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that was Red Barton and the Sky Pirates.
Red Barton.
Yeah, that Valentine's Day kind of thing. I want to know what romantic thing he has now. Maybe like you shoot hearts at people, or maybe like a Cupid mode, where instead of a ship or instead of a plane, I'll be flying like a little fat kid in the
I'd play that game.
Yeah, very PC. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I got to check out a TV show that just premiered, starring one of our favorite actors, Tom Hardy.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. I've been looking forward.
Amy
to this
doesn't
show.
like him.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him. I definitely do not like Tom Hardy in any way.
And I keep hearing about this show though.
No, I love Tom Hardy, guys. Please, anyone out there, just know that I love Tom Hardy very much.
No, I think
I don't want anyone out there to be like, excuse me.
What a bitch.
No, everyone knew you were being facetious, except Herb. He's
I like Tom Hardy, but my best friend makes my interest in Tom Hardy, I think, eclipsed greatly.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you super fan?
She goes a little.
I'm pretty sure that if he could erect some sort of shrine to Tom Hardy.
Perfect. Yeah.
Specifically, real quick, I would say early 2000s MySpace Tom Hardy.
Oh,
for those who don't know, please look up his MySpace.
The whitey tighties and the gut all out, right? Man is in his natural habitat. Isn't that how he referred to it? I think that's what he said.
Yeah. So please, everyone, when you are listening to Pat's review of Taboo, take a second and Google Tom Hardy's MySpace photos.
Why would you do that? Because now they're gonna get these weird lanky.
You need to know, people.
It's really important. The truth. The truth is out there.
Just like watch Layer Cake or Star Trek Nemesis to see the original recipe Tom Hardy before like the Bane and Bronson workouts came into the mix. Before the workouts for Taboo.
Bronson was like 10 years ago, dude. He
was monstrous then.
I like Warrior Tom Hardy.
Bigger and badder. Warrior Tom Hardy was frightening. I know people like that.
Yeah, right.
He was like some random dude from South. Oh my God, you was in the cold? Like, you're English. Stop that. All right, but no. Taboo is a story about a man who, it's set in the 1800s. He goes off to find himself in the world. And he didn't really come from an upscale family. He came from a known family in the community, but kind of known for being they're a family that's kind of squandered anything they have. And the father's a bit of a, not really like a man with high social standing, but he owns a single piece of land. And Hardy comes back after his father's death to negotiate for that piece of land that apparently England wants, America wants, and no one really knows why this piece of land, which as far as they are familiar with, is just like a mud pack.
Yeah.
Just
a spot of dirt out in there in the woods.
Yeah. And it turned out to be really important for reasons I won't divulge because that's a bit of a spoiler. But he comes back to town and people don't recognize him. He has to reacquaint himself with folks. And as people start to recognize him, you realize, since we don't know much about him at the start of the show, that he wasn't really the nicest guy. He was kind of a man with a dark past, and as a kid, he always seemed troubled, and everyone has like bad memories of him. And once people find, well, basically, he comes back to town, everyone's kind of like, standoffish and stiff arms him. And then once they remember who he is, they're really shitey to him. And I'm like, yo, you know what? This sounds like some serious business, because that means he's gonna come back and wreck shop
with a vengeance. Sure, yeah.
It's Tom Hardy. Let's do this. Let's go. And then I got to sit and watch him walk around for 45 minutes.
Excuse me, you told me that you can also see his butt.
Occasionally, you do see his butt. Yes. You see
just out and just
out.
That's what happens in the 1800s.
There's full frontal nudity in this. This is along.
Excuse me. This was not the first thing you told me about this show.
I wanted to tease till the end.
Dang.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing. I'm particularly trolling Amy by leaving out these details. No, I'm upset because I love Tom Hardy's work. I really wanted to see him shine in this, and instead I got a lot of attempted emotion from other people being given the floor to actually speak and react to Tom Hardy's lack of action. He's playing a very dark, brooding figure here, which can in itself be very poignant, be very deep.
Seems like all he has to these days is that dark, brooding, quiet.
Maybe, but this isn't like Bane presence where eventually he speaks. It's like this is just he's just a guy. I don't have anything much to equate it with because he doesn't do anything. He doesn't say anything. He walks here and it's like, okay, this kind of goony figure's walking up to these people. He's going to start a fight. It's going to be real. No, he walks to these people. They get out of his way and he keeps walking. Wow, okay. He walks into a bar. Someone recognizes him. Okay, something's going to happen now. This big dramatic scene. No. They look at him.
Do you get a sense it's building towards something? Like maybe something eventually happen?
I get the sense, but it's far too much of a slow burn. Like any show that's aware of itself
Isn't this Ridley Scott? Isn't this... Who's directing this? Isn't it something crazy?
Oh, dang it, I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was like something insane. Like it was like Ridley Scott, like making this TV show.
Well, if it is, they should know better. Especially Ridley Scott, who should know at some point. Like this isn't a movie. Okay, you don't have 2 hours to to build up a story, and then the whole thing's gonna like come to a head and then finish. This is a TV show where things actually have to happen.
Right, you got to feed people a little something, you know what I mean, to keep them going along, right?
And it's the lack of action that bothers me because it's
Ridley Scott's the executive producer on this.
Well, executive producer. That means.
But it's still.
He approved the concept. He got people funding, and he's backing it with his name, but he's not directly involved in the production. Which I think if he was. That'd be exponentially better. My main disappointment in this is the fact that you expect things to happen. It baits you. He goes to this whorehouse that was his father's house, his family's property, and he's got the key for the place. And he gets approached by this woman, by the madam, and she's threatening like, I'm gonna get my goons on you and everything. Who do you think you are? He's like, you have 2 hours to get everything up out of here. And I'm like, he's opening windows, and there's a bunch of like naked women laying there, and I'm like, okay, cool, this show has merit. Let's see what happens. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Why? Does nothing happen? I'm very disappointed, and it's not for lack of trying, because it's Tom Hardy. I know he's got the ability,
right?
And I can tell he's giving his all in the problem. Well, not giving his all, but he's working with what he's being given.
Yeah.
And I think it's a failing in the writing.
That's unfortunate. I've really been looking forward to it, so I'm going to let it go a couple episodes before I sit down and give it a looky-loo. But
let's see how it pans out, because
I just see like the pictures of Tom Hardy in like war paint and stuff like that. So I'm assuming there should have been some action.
There was so little dialogue in this. That's the problem. Like you'd think at the very least, it's just Tom Hardy not really acting with folks, But no, it's him. He goes to this place. He checks charts. He goes to this place. You watch him read a letter. And then you'll hear you'll hear a voiceover that, okay, though this is going to read the letter to me. The voiceover will say about 3 sentences, and then it'll hold on him for like another full minute, and then he blows out a candle, scene's over. Like, what the hell? Did he read more? What's going on? Was he reflecting?
Does he not know how to read?
Yeah, an inner monologue, something. But we watch him react for the entire time. He walks to a place, he reacts. He walks to another place, he reacts. He walks to a third place.
Sounds like a bad RPG.
Face. It's very disappointing because it was boring. I know.
No boss fights, just NPC chats.
Okay, the quote-unquote boss fight was him in a meeting where they were trying to negotiate for a piece of land. He walked into a meeting, sat down. They offered him money. He said no. They said, "Are you sure?" He said no. It's like, well, let's convince you. He said no. They said, well, look, you little and he said no. Threaten me again, I'll kill you. I'm like, oh, okay, they're threatening. Now something's gonna happen. Credits.
What era does this take place in?
This takes place in 1800s London, I believe.
Okay.
London or Wales.
And so they're fighting
London
over
or Wales. They're definitely the same place.
So they're fighting over land. They're coming after his land, right?
Accents.
So that's what
1814 is the date.
London or Wales.
1814 London. Or
London.
Wales. London. Okay, I was right the first time.
Those
London
are two
town.
really different places.
Oh, okay.
Especially
I
during that
said,
era.
like London or Zimbabwe. Okay. But what I'm hoping is that it's not all situated in London, because I think it might be the environment that might be the catalyst for why it was so uninteresting to start off.
Yeah.
You know, because the whole thing is he's got this dark background. He spent all this time in Africa.
So anticipating some flashbacks where he was this crazy character.
I'm thinking
perhaps.
that's where the action's going to come from. Because
Yeah.
the promos that they've showed, albeit intercut with a lot of just like talk and roundtable discussions, which it turns out might be the majority of the show, are intercut with these scenes of just what looks like some serious savagery. And I was hoping that by the time I saw this, that would have been just teasers to the action-filled show that this would be, and I'm a little disappointed. I will continue to give it a couple more chances, but as of right now, I can't recommend it. It's
and what
Taboo.
channel is this on? What station?
Oh,
network?
This was. Thank you for putting me on the spot, man. I want to say WB, but
yeah, it's
BBC One.
BBC One. Okay, thank you. That's why they were swearing.
Right, that's what I was saying. That their swearings must be. It's like Luther, then kind of. You know,
well, Luther's an awesome show.
Yeah,
this is not.
But that was on BBC One though too.
Yeah,
right.
Also FX.
FX, thank you. There you go. It's Taboo with Tom Hardy. Take it with a strong grain of salt. If you do want to subject yourself to it, as of right now, I would say pass.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ridley Scott is an executive producer.
Yeah.
That's
I already said that.
I know, and I confirmed.
We also established that you see Tom Hardy's entire wiener.
Yes, you do.
The whole.
So for those,
and
it takes a whole episode.
So for those who are looking for alternative reasons to watch it, the whole wiener.
It's just one slow tilt shot.
The whole a candid shot of his wiener.
Slow pan.
All right. Okay.
Remember, guys, MySpace photos.
This one tracking shot.
Enough about bare wieners. I want to hear about someone who has no involvement whatsoever in any kind of wiener. Adam, you got to check out Jackie, did you not, my friend?
Yes, I did actually.
That is indeed not wiener centric.
There's no wieners in Jackie. Just gonna put that out there first, just to get people's minds somewhere else.
Jackie is wiener free.
Wiener free, absolutely. Headphones just went out. This is directed by Pablo Larraín. He also has a movie Neruda that's out like right now as well, which is interesting. Very busy guy at the moment. Stars Natalie Portman, Peter Sarsgaard's in this, Billy Crudup's in this, John Hurt's in this, and basically this is it's not like a biopic. It's kind of it goes back into the one place in time right after the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and then it's her first interview with Billy Crudup, who plays this journalist, and it's her interview explaining in detail basically her life after that event.
Okay.
And so it's her recalling everything that happened. And so it's just basically that 1 week in her life, and then within that week, everything she's going through, basically trying to raise her kids, trying to break it to her kids, trying to basically comprehend the events that happened, such a horrible thing. And then the interesting part is she's a student of history, so it's her coming to terms with her place in history down the line. Mm-hmm. So she's really comprehending her on the whole scale of history, how she'll be viewed down the line, how John F. Kennedy will be viewed down the line. So it's very interesting, her perspective in this film. Yes, absolutely. So she one of the things she studies Lincoln's funeral to try to emulate that, because when he was assassinated, they had this giant funeral. So she wants something similar because, she views her husband as such a great man. She doesn't want him to be just another picture on the wall, because basically her living in the White House is like living in this house full of ghosts. And so she's just surrounded by all these men, and she understands that most American people don't really remember what they did or what they accomplished. So she doesn't want her husband to be just forgotten, to be just another man. So she's it's her struggling with that, her trying to come to terms with the death. And this movie was filmed beautifully. The 16 millimeter grainy film stock that they used really kind of invokes the look of the time.
Was that to go for that effect of
Yes,
the
I
old
think so.
film cameras? that you
Yes,
see
it
back?
looks just like one of those old things. So Peter Sarsgaard's in this. He plays Bobby.
That
And
forehead still.
yep, Billy Crudup's the journalist. John Hurt's a priest. She confides in as well. But a very interesting movie. Like I said, it was shot beautifully. The assassination scene itself is very, very powerful. Very,
Oh,
very,
wow.
very well done. It's just
Soundtrack by Kanye.
yeah, but it's not like over the top, like, you know what I mean, like overly dramatic and really selling it. It's just kind of like you see a few flashes and just like her there holding his head is just such a powerful scene.
Okay, that's
And-
tough because to do that, it seems like it would be hard to do that and have it not be disrespectful.
Right, and it's like it's tasteless almost. You know what I mean? To really like dwell on it and to try to go over the top. But the way they did it, it was very well done. It didn't like try to sell the gore too much or anything like that, and like overly, it's very dramatic as it is. They didn't need to sell it anymore. But yeah, it was a great movie. I definitely suggest going out and see this. Natalie Portman does a great job. She nails that voice that she does. But definitely worth checking out. I definitely recommend it.
All right, solid. Jackie. Is that
Jackie,
theaters now?
I believe so. Yeah. I saw it at Coolidge a week ago. It might not be there anymore, but I think it's still up. Maybe in the suburbs there. So.
The Coolidge.
The Coolidge.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, now another motion picture we got. to
Oh,
check
yeah.
out. A little
Very
little
classy.
ditty.
Good transition movie.
Yeah.
I think.
Really on par, I'd say.
Well, it's just
With
one
the-
that people need to know. We're
The
talking,
dynamic
of course, about
acting.
Death Race 2050. I got to see it. Did anybody else?
I sure did.
Mhm.
It's actually on Netflix now. Too.
It
It's on
sure
Netflix.
is.
Right.
Yeah, we're talking about Death Race 2050, the latest motion picture by Roger Corman. 90-plus-year-old SOB Roger Corman still working.
Mm.
And this is the it's not the direct sequel.
It
It's-
is an emotional sequel. Because it is neither a direct remake nor a direct sequel.
Of
It's
the
got like
original
the same
1970.
characters, the same themes. You're right. Yeah.
It does. Most of the same characters along the same lines and pretty much updated for the modern age. The original movie was Death Race 2020.
Yeah.
Movie starring David Carradine, rest his soul.
And Sly Stallone. Yeah.
And Sly Stallone.
Sly Stallone delivering one of the greatest lines in all of cinema, where he turns to his kind of co-pilot, co-writer / girlfriend, and looks at her and goes, "Yeah, well, you're just a big potato," because she's sassing him, and he literally just says, "You're just a big potato."
Just derp. Yeah.
And it's just it stuck
That's
with
it.
me, man.
Yeah.
I watched that movie 20 years ago. And I
Immortal lines like that stay with you.
Totally.
That's another movie. Speaking of movies to watch way too young, is my dad loved that
Death
movie and he
Race,
had it
yeah.
on, and I watched Death Race.
Oh man.
But the violence in the original one is like just hella
It's
goofy.
campy. I mean, it was
Even the
good.
new one's goofy, but it's a little more graphic. But it's just soup. The original's incredibly goofy.
All those Roger Corman B movies that are made in like 2 weeks or
But
have that.
they spent
quality
at
to
least
them.
3 weeks on this new film. I got to say, it had my boy Manu Bennett in
At
it, so that's really
least, yeah.
exciting to see him in a lead role. It's for those who don't know, he has done a lot of work. In front of the cameras, yet not. He's been some orcs in Lord of the Rings films. He was Azog in the Hobbit movies. So you have definitely seen him in things, but you don't always know you have seen him in things. And
He's a navigator.
it was really, really cool to see him as a lead. But something I've been joking about is, like, if you're from New Zealand and you're an actor, do you need to like make a pact with Satan to lose your accent? Because I can't think of anyone from New Zealand that actually can manage having any different
I'm
accent.
telling
Most people
you.
from
And
New
don't come
Zealand
at me about
play
Carl
the-
Urban because he's miserable with his accent.
Simon Baker. He's the guy. He was the medalist. If you've seen The Devil Wears Prada.
So does someone else? So does Mano have to like kill him to speak without an accent?
Yeah,
like, is that
no,
how
it's-
that works?
it's sort of
There's
like a
just
Highlander thing.
one.
You cut off
Most-
his head,
Yeah, I think
and then you gain that
Because
ability.
Carl Urban's a little better, but if anybody's watching it, go back and watch the first Star Trek movie. And
I think most people from New Zealand play people from New Zealand in American movies.
Well, unless they play Xena.
That's a weird Kiwi. Don't worry, and then they throw it away like that, and that's what they are.
Well,
Yeah.
Zoe Bell, I think, is the last one.
Right.
but just an aside, I just found it funny. Like, it just, the accent was very like, yes, American Frankenstein in glorious America.
Right.
Americans.
Well, we've thrown out a couple of names, but since you both are intimately familiar, you want to give our audience just a rundown of what is Death Race.
Well, I think it was originally a satire. You know what I mean? It was it's basically these professional wrestling personalities, and the population is gotten so large that as a crossover of entertainment and population control, they throw this game where these people are in these cars and they kill pedestrians to gain points. And basically, there's like 99% unemployment rate.
It's meant to be like a distraction from the fact that life itself is kind of obsolete because robots have replaced humans.
Robots have replaced human beings to do everything. It's this dystopian world, so it's like this entertainment and population control game.
Everything is kind of like drink soda. Soda's great now with 83% less mind control.
It's
like
very much living in comfort and squalor. I could see this as being set in the same universe as Idiocracy.
Yeah, it's kind of like the world of Idiocracy from a different angle, and I really enjoyed in this new movie. It had Malcolm McDowell as the president, which is a gift unto itself. It's almost like the original movie Death Race watched The Hunger Games and was like, yeah, I like that. Let's put that in the movie.
Malcolm McDowell's fantastic, and if you don't know him, obviously A Clockwork Orange, Time After Time.
And also, let us not forget the new Fantasy Island.
No, I think what you really want to call out is Franklin.
Let us never forget.
Franklin and Bash. That right there is a classic.
Malcolm McDowell, star of New Fantasy Island.
Franklin and Bash. You threw a Franklin and Bash. That's a first for sure.
But yeah, Death Race was really interesting in the sense that I had really low expectations. I'm not gonna lie. I went into this being like, all right, I'll watch this crap. It's coming out on Netflix the day it's released. You know what? It was enjoyable. I thought it was pretty good satire for the times. And it had a lot of little things for, how do I put this? The woke nerd, if you will. For the discerning nerd. One of my favorite scenes in this is not a spoiler in any way, is the certain characters, two female characters speak in a bar, talking to each other about kind of the state of things. And Pat, what was the name of that bar for our listeners?
That was the Bechtel bar.
For those unaware,
the Bechdel test.
And it was for those unaware of the Bechdel test. It's two named female characters speaking to each other about something that isn't a man, which was originally seen in the comic Dykes to Watch Out For, which was actually meant to show that like lesbian content is so rare that you can't even find two women that are named characters talking to each other. But it's kind of become this like lowest standard for a film that that the least that a film has are two women that have names talking to each other about something other than a man. And I thought it was just a really cheeky nod to the audience in a positive way, in a like, we know this is crap.
But it's definitely like in the know type to get that too. I don't think that actually the audience for it.
Well, that's what I think is so great.
Right.
Who is the audience to this movie? That's what I loved so much. It's kind of at the same time, there's two levels of this movie. There's the level of you're watching this movie and, oh man, this girl's banging a car. Literally, one of the characters is banging her car.
Yes, indeed.
She's banging her car. And isn't that crazy?
One big vibrator.
Her car's a vibrator, and it's crazy. And oh my god, that guy got cut in half. There's guts everywhere. And I love this movie.
Sex with
but
cars.
then there's
Hold on,
the level.
I gotta pause the orgasm and see what's going on. I got something caught under my.
But then there's the second level of not so much getting it, because I don't want to think down on the people that are just watching like, yeah, it blew up. But there is this secondary level of watching it as a movie and watching it as the media that it is and saying, this is a satire and this is showing you there's a great scene in it where the president is just talking about how rich he is, and I forget what animal they're eating, black rhino. They're sitting and eating a black rhino.
Because it's endangered.
I mean, it's just so over the top, ham-fisted, shoveling it in your face, like capitalism bad. And I loved that. I thought that
I had a problem with some of that.
I think it really worked,
and it got into the realm of shoddy writing.
For me, I thought it was like a farce. I thought it was like farcical.
They had several different turns where it could have seemed to me as a really intelligent farce. Most of the scenes where you are seeing the audience member react to things happening directly in the death race. One of the interesting mechanics they incorporated in this was all the audience that are watching. In the old 70s one, people watched in live at live shows. at the live stadiums and stands and stuff on the side of the road, or on TV. In this one, everyone has these little virtual reality glasses that puts them right in the passenger seat. And several times in the movie, it would cut to not the navigator on the side of the driver, but the audience member who's seeing themselves in there, and you can watch them react. And I'm like, wow, they're gonna do something really like poignant and intelligent here. This guy's reaction is gonna really make a statement. And no, not at all. Several times I felt they dropped the ball there, and I was really waiting for it. I'm like, wow, this movie's going to be more introspective than I ever realized from the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could have been so much more.
I see what you're saying, but I'll be honest with you. I feel like it works because it's not really like this self-referential movie. Like, I feel like it works for what it is, which again, and this is not meant to diminish it in any way. It was a not released to theaters, home video distribution.
How dare you diminish this movie in that way?
I know, it's so rude of me, but I felt a good example of what you're trying to say though is like one of the newer characters, and again, this is not a spoiler, it's like one of the first things you see is there's a character, Jed Perfectus. And he's supposed to be like this, sexually ambiguous Ubermensch, and
he's a cock diesel, ultra Aryan.
That was something I actually was bummed about real quick. I was really
ass.
hoping that there'd be the Nazi car in this movie, just so I could see it get blown up, and there was no Nazi car in this movie.
An updated version. They, instead of the Nazi, in the original movie,
there's no update to Nazis. Nazis are still there. We still need to punch Nazis.
The ultra right wing fundamentalist driver who basically had her own religion and her own followers.
Breitbart employee.
Yeah. But I think that was the modern allegory for the
I don't think
Nazi.
We don't need a modern allegory for Nazis. It can just still be Nazis, and you can still blow them up.
I think about a year ago when they were filming this, that it just started to get back into fashion.
Oh, they've never left.
Let's hear both sides, though.
I think
oh, gosh.
I think the hardcore fundamentalists would be seen as more in that role up until recently.
I can see it, but at the same time, on a personal note, I would have, this movie gets an 8 out of 10, losing a star for me for not having any Nazis explode.
Wow. True. Most of my movies do that, too, though.
They explode Nazis?
I need exploding Nazis to get the full star rating.
It's just the icing on any
to
film's
get the full
cake.
star rating.
All right, this one, the main thing that got me though was, and I want to call out the was it 2008, 2010, the Jason Statham, Tyrese Gibson, Death Race,
which does have nothing to do with.
I won't say nothing.
They have the same character names. There's Frankenstein's in that.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Loosely based on the original Death Race 2020.
It's like the alternate reality.
Yeah, they
version.
set a dystopian future. And this one tried to be a little more serious.
We'll get the prisoners, and they'll gotta fight each other in the cars.
I really liked it though because
I did like it as well.
In itself, they did practical effects. The acting was good. The story was fun.
They had Al Swearingen in that movie too.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most overqualified guy ever.
It was actually a great. In retrospect, it's actually a really great cast. A really fun movie to watch. And even though we acknowledge it's not the most prestigious movie, it was one that actually respected the material, despite how goofy the material itself actually is.
Right.
And this one,
what was that? Like Jason Statham ended up in prison. They framed him for killing his wife. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then he actually gets revenge on the guy that actually did it mid-race. Something like that. He breaks his neck. Yeah. It was a little goofy, but it was
goofy.
fun. It was a fun movie.
Not every movie has to be.
It's a Jason Statham
Jackie.
movie. Like, come on,
it was.
I get it. Yeah,
I called that one out because it was far more coherent than this movie.
Yeah, this movie was a little bit of a mess. I'll be honest. I did enjoy it, but it certain storylines, and again, I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's a couple of storylines that don't really properly get resolved in this
picked up and
movie.
Abandoned for sure.
And there's a couple of things where characters do things that really have no motivations. Like the film establishes that one of the characters is faking their persona.
Yeah.
And then this character immediately throws that away.
Another one, could have been really intelligent.
Just immediately immediately goes right back to by the way, this is a persona and I'm super smart. Oh, let me immediately go try and kill this other character. It just did not make any sense.
Trying to hit their deadline and forgot about tying up a bunch of loose ends. Here you go. Yeah.
This was, you know what? It's Death Race. I would happily
keep it simple.
Have gotten
keep it simple. Yeah.
Seriously. And they tried to present something that they didn't follow through on.
Right.
And that in itself
With a
really
name
let
as
me down.
blunt as Death Race, you would think, yeah, they would probably just, be a straight ahead action, dumb, you know what I mean, blow stuff up.
Speaking
Yeah,
real quick
which is
about
good.
the action and gore, I did want to give a shout out to how impractical its effects were, and that I genuinely enjoyed the goofy, over the top violence.
Oh, yeah.
I feel that it could have gone too realistic and moved into this almost like B movie, like B gore zone,
like the Expendables kind of.
and I feel like this
This
had
was-
a really good level of like crappy CGI. There's no other way to put it, but it was like good. It was like I wanted it. It's like, yes, cut that man in half. All his organs are splurting blood everywhere.
Yeah, because that's what you came for. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Borderline Aqua Teen Hunger Force
Yeah.
explosions.
Yeah, exactly. Like
and
it's.
shoot 'em up.
Danzig comes out, more blood. Do you have the house with the blood?
Can you
Yeah.
make the blood flow up the walls? Sure, why not?
Yeah, hey, they could do it. They would do it. I got a sense that they were trying to, when they revamped some of the characters, do like a wacky racist thing. I'm like, that's absolutely not the way you want to go. That's very wrong. But I still didn't hate the writers. The acting kind of bugged me at times because I'm like, I know these aren't like complete A-listers, but at the very least, like, there's got to be some way to make this dialogue work because it's Death Race, and I really wanted to.
Yeah.
And like they lost me at some point. Their motivations seemed to like fall and then pick up sometime down the line. Like, didn't you completely abandon this like 20 minutes ago? Obviously, and now you're trying to go back to it. The ending itself left me flat.
Plus, I don't think they really had any actors too that I was particularly taken with. You know what I mean?
I really
That
wanted
was-
to see the Jed Perfectus storyline actually wrap up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it just kind of. That's another one. Like, okay, Jed Perfect is supposed to be like again this Ubermensch. He's been genetically created to be perfect, and it just doesn't go anywhere.
It's a movie that had an A story and a B story and kind of a C story, which you normally see on TV shows, and they wrap up tightly. This didn't wrap any of them up tightly. The overall story, which is Frankenstein, the main story, Frankenstein's story, did have a finish, but it was kind of a we know this isn't, we know you're not taking it seriously, so we're not taking it seriously type of finish. If I hadn't seen this done better, I'd be perfectly fine. But we've seen Idiocracy do it better. We've seen the earlier Death Race movie do it better. We've seen the original Death Race do it better, even though I don't want to harken on that. Oh, the original was much better than that. That makes me an asshole. I'm not going to do that. This one, it's a fun time. It's a dumb fun time, but it's a dumb fun time that presents itself as a little bit more than that. If you
So
take
it
it on
hints
that,
at it, then doesn't really follow through.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like Taboo. You're getting a lot of that. You know?
The whole wiener.
Like the whole
like Taboo
wiener.
with the whole wiener. You don't see Jed Perfectus once.
Yeah,
Like
you don't see his
full-
wiener, but he is in a real small bikini at one point, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, that was awkward. Made me feel funny.
Yeah, right?
I'm a little bummed that we didn't get more from certain characters because dang it, what was the rapper's name? Do you recall?
I am blanking on her name.
All right, there were a couple of
It began with an
characters-
M, right?
Minerva.
Minerva.
Her name was Minerva.
Yeah, these were really interesting characters. There's an AI that has an existential crisis.
Abe.
Yeah, Abe.
That's the
AI,
one
yeah.
for those who were paying attention. The one that his creator is having car sex with.
Yes.
They make the
yes.
Midwest really racist too. which is-
So some of it was factual. This is true, but but
It's
basically,
enjoyable. It's enjoyable.
There's a lot
It's only
there
good
that
fun.
I would have loved to have seen if they'd fleshed out, or at the very least, given a little bit more screen time to, so they could wrap up some of this without having to go through the whole story. Just give them logical endings, and they did just kind of like.
I mean,
I think this was selling the name as a quick cash grab. We're like, we got Roger Corman. He's not going to be around much longer. Let's do this movie and get the hell out of here.
I think to be honest, like if I had to have like one wrap up conclusion, it's if you already have a Netflix account and you're already paying for Netflix, watch this movie.
And you're about to fall asleep.
And it's you got 2 hours and you want to watch something goofy, you could do a lot worse than this movie.
Do you want to watch
it's a
How I Met
fun
Your Mother
movie.
again? No.
Exactly.
High praise on any account. Death Race, I would recommend it if you're familiar with Death.
Yeah,
the Death
especially
Race
if you enjoyed the David Carradine version. Check this one out.
Yes, although we just have to let you know it's not. It's. I guess it is a spoiler.
They
how
know,
well you know
they
the story. There's no grenade hand, and we
Ah,
came.
How
to the grenade
dare
hand.
you spoil this movie from the 7th?
The
I'm
people have a
angry.
right to know there is no grenade hand.
Truth.
All right, so that was Death Race 2050.
Mm.
I think we're split on this one. Okay, but this has been the Geek Down here on WEMF Radio. I want to thank you all for joining us for another fun show with fun stuff that was kind of funky. Want to remind you all, if you weren't watching on Twitch, you can catch us on twitch.tv/thegeekdown every week and see our smiling faces. And also, you were probably checking us out on WMFradio.com, but you can also hear us on SoundCloud/geekdown. Also, you can check us out on YouTube/geekdown, or look us up on iTunes. We're on there too at the Geek Down. Just search us and we'll come up first thing. First thing that pops up in the search, and you know what to do. Also, if you heard anything on this show you want to chime in on, you really like Death Race and want to punch us in the taint, you can organize that by hitting us up at geekdownradio@gmail.com. And you can also just go to the website and hit us up there at geek-down.com. We'll be right back here next Monday, same bad time, same bad channel. Until then, I want to thank Just Johnny.
Yep.
I want to thank Amy McCobb. I want to thank Black Adam Willis.
Yes, sir.
DJ Herbie Herb.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you. Join us next week, and until then, be excellent to each other. Peace.